You know where you should go. Go to Hale.
Welcome back to one Hale of a podcast. I'm your host, Patrick Hale, brought to you by Hale Law Accident Attorneys. Today we have the pleasure of having Yariel Carmenate on, who is actually an airbrush
artist,
yep. Master, whatever you want to call it.
I wouldn't go that far.
He uses airbrushes to paint designs for different companies, organizations, even on charity type events, and really brings a smile and joy to people. So we're really excited to have you here, Yari. Thanks for coming on the show.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. Absolutely.
For sure. So let's jump in.
Okay.
Tell me something about yourself most people don't know.
I can speak Spanish. I was born in Cuba. Speak fluent Spanish, and from my appearance, not many people would guess it, but yeah, we can communicate in Spanish. And I ride motorcycles, and I love them.
You ride motorcycles, nice. Well, we'll get into motorcycles maybe here in a little bit.
All right.
So, what brought you from Cuba, and then you end up? I meet you. You're at a USF event.
Yep.
A football event, and we're the official personal injury law firm partners of USF Bulls. Go Bulls.
Go Bulls.
And what brings you to that event? And you're out there just painting hats, giving them out custom logos with the USF logo to people who are showing up to the games.
Yeah, so we do airbrush activations, parties and events. USF as Bulls Bay. The activation will set up and do about 300, 400 hats every time we go out, between 3 or 4 artists, depending on how big the crowd and the flow of guests are. So we'll go out there with the USF logo, and then the guest will just say, "Hey, I want my name on there." You know, like
Patrick. I was one of those people.
Exactly.
I saw people doing it, and I'm like, I want one of these. They're cool. I think you did more than 300 that day, though.
Yeah, we did a lot. We always do a lot. And you guys were awesome because you waited in line, and then we had the Go to Hale, the banner on the backdrop of your banner of the tent, and I thought that was just awesome. Great catch line.
Appreciate it. Hale yeah.
Hell yeah.
People love the phrases. Yeah. Obviously, with any business, you have to have good branding.
Yeah, absolutely.
You could be the best attorneys in the world, but if you don't have people to help, then what's the point? You got to get people in the door. You're the same way.
Yeah,
you're airbrushing. I saw your skill when I was out there, and how quickly you were pumping out hats, but at the same time, every single hat was slightly unique and had a special touch. I thought that was pretty cool what you were doing out there.
Yeah, absolutely. So that sets us apart from like a print company that does always the exact same design. You can order 1,000 of something and give them away, but if you order 1,000 of something and then you can customize 1,000 of them on the spot, it really creates that interaction between you and the guest, and they'll really remember your brand versus the next person over who was giving away a squishy ball or a set of Band-Aids with their brand on it.
Yeah, absolutely, because everyone wants something that's special.
Yeah, absolutely.
If one thing's mass produced and it's printed, or there's a different sort of feel when you get something that is the only one that's uniquely that in the world.
Yeah, and for us, a lot of people are going to AI right now and robots and machinery that are doing a lot of these jobs. For us, we're in a good position because as airbrush artists, we're still on that creative side, and people love seeing something happen live in front of them in 1-2 minutes. So that kind of sets us apart from a print company or some sort of other activation that can, use AI to facilitate that.
Yeah, and that's interesting. You're talking about AI, and when it comes down to it, AI can do stuff that's easily repeatable. Mm-hmm. It can take large swaths of information and compartmentalize them and pump something out. But when it comes to something as technical as a skill like airbrushing, I don't know. Are there any airbrush AI companies that you think are going to come out and have robots painting?
No, not live. I mean, we use AI internally to do a lot of our, processing information, data entry, things like that. But as far as going out to the event and painting live, I haven't seen anything like that, and hopefully we don't anytime soon.
If I saw a robot airbrushing hats, I would definitely have to stop at that booth as well. Yeah. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, me too. I might unplug them, but
yeah, hit that kill switch in the back. So you're with Airbrush events.
Yes.
And so How'd you get involved with Airbrush events? That's the company that you do a lot of work
Yes.
through.
So me and a lot of the other artists on the Airbrush Events roster, essentially we're all independent contractors, and Airbrush Events is like a big umbrella. So they have a good presence in nationally here, and especially here in like the Tampa, Orlando area.
Yeah.
We do a lot of our events here in this area. So we are all independent contractors, and we partner with Airbrush Events, so they hire us for talent. And I personally came across Airbrush Events because I was looking for more airbrush gigs, and when I was on Facebook searching like how to get more airbrush events,
That's the best way
they
to try and
popped
find
up.
out, right? Just
Yeah, absolutely.
seek and you will find. So
Yep.
you're looking for it, and what happens?
So they had a really cool social media channel. They had artists traveling the country, a lot of different airbrush artists doing what they love to do. So I saw them doing airbrush t-shirts, airbrush hats. At that time, my company was mainly focused at doing airbrush tattoos. So we kind of started talking. We had a couple beers, me and the owner, Peter Marin, who would be here at this podcast, but he lives in Vegas, so he couldn't make it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we had some good conversations, had a couple ice cold beers, and good friendship. And then he introduced me to the rest of the team. We started doing a lot more events, doing a lot more traveling. Got to work with a lot of different guys and learned a lot of different skill sets. I used their experience, right? So I work with all these airbrush pioneers who have been published in magazines, who have done, custom projects for,
Wow.
high-end celebrities, things that we can't really talk about after we've signed some of those NDA forms.
Yeah.
But just getting into that world was awesome because I saw that it was something that I could pursue a career in, because I saw not just one person doing it. I saw a group of airbrush artists, and they gave me the inspiration to be able to like quit my job and pursue airbrushing full time, which eventually happened.
Yeah. So you followed your dreams.
Yeah.
A lot of people they get stuck doing the same thing.
Yeah.
You just looked at everything and said, you know what, I'm gonna go pursue art.
Yeah, absolutely. I was working in the medical field, and it was fulfilling because we would help patients, and I was helping the doctors and the procedures and things like that. But I knew that there was something missing, and then I would do events on like the weekends, and I'd have more fun. And then eventually I started making more money, and then I was like, oh, it's not even about the money. Like if I could just trade off the time that I'm not spending at an office from 9 to 5, I could focus on projects like this and spend more time with my family. And once I closed that gap, that's when I went, full-time airbrushing, and then I just stopped worrying about ever going back to a job. I always thought to myself, like, burn the boats. If I have no other option, then I have to make this work. And eventually, over the years and a lot of headbutting, I was able to be more successful and be able to support, myself and my family doing something that I enjoy.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So you go in and you're doing, essentially, you're an artist.
Mm.
And you say that you hang out with a lot of other airbrushers,
Yep.
people who've been published. What's the community like with the airbrushers? Is that the proper even term to use?
Yeah, so back in the 70s and 80s, before my time, so all of these pioneers, they started doing airbrush stores on the beaches. So you would, you'd
I've
take
seen
spring
them.
break, right? You go
Yeah.
to the beach, and back then the community was, this is my airbrush store, and you can't be on this block, right? Like
Yeah, it's like
I'm
Airbrush
Clearwater,
Mafia.
yeah, exactly. I'm Panama City Beach, I'm Clearwater, and now it's kind of transitioned to we all work together. And a lot of people are moving away from the physical locations and going to like digital sales, right? So online stores using like their online platform, YouTube,
Yeah,
TikTok,
all that
whatever,
stuff.
and then events. So we kind of work with each other and are making the event industry bigger. So now when people are looking for an airbrush event company for their activation or for their next big event, there's more traffic to it, and we're able to kind of like work together. At like tomorrow or Thursday, we're going 8 artists are all going to an event in Atlanta. So
Wow.
everybody's flying in. We're all going to hang out, have dinner, hang out, do the event, and then they'll probably be flying back the following day or two. So just get to spend time with some of our friends that we don't really see all the time anymore. So when we get together for these bigger events in like the Orlandos or the Tampas, we're able to spend some extra time together that we normally would just be communicating back and forth on a group chat.
Yeah, and I know how it is, especially with attorneys and other personal injury attorneys here locally, throughout the state, throughout the country. When I get together with them and we go to a lot of the same events,
Mhm.
it's fun.
Yeah,
just
absolutely.
throwing ideas off each
Yep,
other,
yep.
just having people who totally understand what you're going through, because every single line of work has its struggles,
Yeah.
it has opportunities, and it has times that just make you feel really good, and it's fun to share those stories. So you mentioned some of the guys and gals who were there before you. They've taught you a lot.
Yeah.
Have you learned, and we'll get into how you got into this industry, but were there certain skills that they taught you where you perfected? Like maybe,
Oh yeah.
I don't know the terms, but maybe like you were too close, too far away. I don't know, some sort of airbrush technique.
Yeah.
What are some of the coolest techniques that you learned, and who'd you learn them from?
So Peter Marin, he's a great mentor, owner of Airbrush Events.
Yeah.
He showed me how to do better fundamentals, right? So like I was self-taught back in early 2000s, and at that point it was early YouTube and
So you learned
reading
on YouTube.
magazines. Yeah.
That's like me when I try to fix anything in my house.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. YouTube University, you can conquer conquer the world.
That's
doing it.
right.
But he showed me how to be more proficient with the fundamentals, which are dots, and the technical terms are like called dagger strokes and thick to thin lines. So when you're airbrushing like a graffiti style lettering, you can be more loose and kind of open ended. And then when you want to do something more like a crispy script lettering, you use thick and thin lines. So thick when you're going down, and then thin when you're going up, and you're real nice, tight, crispy lines, and you get that like. I mean, you guys saw it at the USF event where it's a name that flows in 5 to 10 seconds and it's just crisp.
I was wondering how you did that. I kept on watching. I'm like,
yeah,
there's no way
it's mesmerizing, isn't it?
He's this quick on these hats. Hand them out to all these little kids coming up, going to see the football game, watch the team, and you were just on it in like a matter of 2 minutes or a minute and a half, and you seemed like you're pumping out these hats. And when you look at them, it's like, how'd this guy do this?
Yeah, just a lot of
so
practice.
It's your dots, dashes, daggers, lines, thick up, thin down, or opposite?
Backwards. I mean, you could make it look good if you did it that way too, but
you just have to be painting upside down, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So with the techniques that I learned from Pete, and then from some of the other artists on the team, like Rod, Dante, Ivan, Takeshi. I've done a lot of events with Regis, Nick, and Pete, another Pete that's on the team. The fun thing about doing these events with them, they've been airbrushing for all these years, and everybody does something a little bit different. So I would look at somebody's, like, let's say H, for instance. I'm like, oh, I really like the way that they did their H, or I really like the way that person did their J. And then I would ask them, hey, how did you do that? Like, can you write me an alphabet so that way I can copy the style of lettering that you have? And eventually I made my own alphabet, like, of different techniques that I learned, and I didn't have to spend all the years testing them out, because these guys just showed me how to do it in 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's really cool.
So
that's what we do as attorneys. The same thing.
Yeah.
The younger attorneys learn from the older attorneys, and we say, on this sort of type of case, you do these different things.
Yeah.
Slightly different than this other type
absolutely.
of case. So it's a craft. It's a skill.
Yeah, I like how you mentioned craft. People ask me all the time, like, oh, you're such a talented artist, and I really don't know art. I never studied art, didn't go to school for art. I just know how to airbrush. Like, if you gave me a paintbrush or some, like, fancy colored pencils, it wouldn't look right. I just know how to airbrush.
I find that hard to believe. Yeah. I believe you. Maybe you hold yourself to a higher level, and a higher standard.
No. I can airbrush, but I can't really paint very well.
All right.
Just different mediums. Some people are just gifted artists, and you can give them a piece of charcoal, and they'll make a nice portrait.
I've seen charcoal art before. It's actually pretty cool. I saw that online.
Yeah.
So, do you post any of your stuff online?
So I typically don't. I do a lot of, like, back-end communication stuff on the computer, and I've been focusing more on, like, the business side of things with spreadsheets. And I used to post a lot. I used to share a lot. Tammy, our social media girl, she'll take all of the content from the artists at the events, and then she'll upload them, make different reels, different shorts, things like that. For a couple of the years, since I was so active in painting a lot of the events, I would share a lot of content. So I'd be at USF, and I would be doing a tattoo gig today, and then I'd be doing hats the next day or the next week, and I'd share all the pictures. We even used to have these little kind of like the GoPro mounts. You put them on your chest, so you would get a nice point of view of what we were painting, turn around, hand it to the guests, see them smiling from ear to ear. So she posted a lot of that stuff on our social media, mainly being Instagram, which is Airbrush Events on Instagram.
Yeah.
And we do have the YouTube channel and then TikTok and Facebook.
Okay, cool. I know you mentioned that the alphabet thing.
Mhm.
That's intriguing to me. So would you be able to look at just a random airbrush piece of art, and if it's someone like, can you spot the artist
Oh,
just
yeah.
by looking at
Yeah,
it?
sometimes it's harder than others, but we've done events where we'll show up and somebody will be wearing a T-shirt that somebody painted 4 years ago, and I'll be like, "Hey, by any chance, was that Dante who painted that, or was that like Ivan?" Because I can tell that lettering after you've worked with them so many events side by side.
Absolutely.
Other times we're kind of very similar with how we do lettering. Some artists have a unique style, so you can definitely pick them out like that.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Where's the weirdest spot, or like far away, maybe you're traveling or something, just random place and you're like, I know who that was. I know that artist.
I was in Penn State University. I did an event there, and there was a gentleman who was wearing a hat, and the fire was specific, and I knew it looked like Nick's. And when I saw it, I was like, "Hey, I know." I took a picture and I shared it in the group chat, and it was his.
Oh wow.
So
So are there a lot of different groups doing this? You say it's like, oh, Nick, or you know their names.
yeah.
How many people are doing airbrushing at like events nationwide? I know you said it's a small community.
Yeah.
What would be your estimates?
I'd say probably about 5 to 10 companies that are doing it at a high enough level. We're probably one of the biggest known groups. Our social media presence and website, SEO just puts us right at the top of searches. We have a small community here, especially like the company was founded out of St. Pete
Okay.
with the owner. So he made a lot of connections here in the Tampa Bay area, St. Pete, Clearwater, Orlando, Jacksonville, Miami. So most of us started here, and then as the team got bigger, we continued to grow and add new artists. But essentially, it's a small community of just guys that all kind of work together with airbrush events for these, you know, activations and parties that we're doing for our guests or for our clients and for their guests. And as far as other companies, I'm sure there are some, but we kind of don't focus on them.
Yeah, it makes sense. Uh, so when it comes to different events, you mentioned events and activation. Just so everyone who's listening knows, what's an
Yeah.
activation?
So an activation would be something like you guys do with USF. So you go to the USF game, you set up your tent, and you're giving away a bunch of swag items. We do the same thing. Ours is just custom painted on the spot. So an event would be something like, they're all events essentially, but an event, we could call it like a private event and then like a corporate type event. So private would be a birthday, a wedding, a bar mitzvah, a sweet 16, that type of feel where you bring in your guest in and you're just giving them away personalized party favors. On the opposite side, we can be considered like a corporate event. So we could be a corporate retreat where everybody comes to a place like a Tampa or a Clearwater. They're hanging out at the beach. They're doing their conference during the day, and then they're partying at night. We're usually there to give that party element, or we can work with companies to do like an experiential marketing where the guests come to their booth and they leave with not only just a product, they leave with an experience because they were able to put their order in, change the colors that they used,
Yeah.
select what size shirt or what color hat they wanted to pick or which tattoo they wanted to use. So we kind of focus on building that experience that somebody's never going to forget.
All right. And what's the coolest? I heard you mention the tattoos real fast. How long do they last?
About a week.
A week.
Yeah, you could jump in a pool or a beach right after too, so they're water resistant. You could scrub them off, but they come right off with rubbing alcohol.
What's the coolest thing you've ever airbrushed?
I painted a shirt for Mark Hoppus, Blink 182, and he
Oh,
wore it
wow.
on stage. Yeah,
Wow. Hold on, I cut you off. You said something about a stage too.
yeah, he wore it on stage. So they were here in Tampa for their concert at the amphitheater.
Yeah,
We
I was
painted it.
thinking about getting tickets to that. I didn't.
Yeah, you
I
should.
love
It
Blink
was,
One
it
Eighty
was,
Two.
yeah, it was a fun show.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
So he wore it on
Yep.
stage.
Yep. And we got pit passes too, so I was like front row. It was
That's pretty
awesome
cool.
experience. Yeah, that was probably one of the cooler events that I've done.
All right.
Coolest.
That's pretty cool. Second coolest thing you ever airbrushed.
I would say as a whole, it would have to be the entire event we did with the Children's Cancer Center.
Yeah, tell us about that.
So last year they had a Christmas event for all of the affected families that were going through, have gone, or currently going through treatment. Um, they just put together like a big festival. It was just, it was awesome. We brought like 8 or 9 artists. Half of us were doing airbrush stockings and like putting the kids' names or their families on there. And then the other half were doing airbrush tattoos with like a Santa stencil, a Grinch,
That's a lot of fun.
snowman. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. A lot of families attended, and they all left with something.
Yeah, so that's really cool. So do you guys do events like that as well? So some of it's for corporate,
Yeah.
type events, but then you have the charity,
Yeah,
sort of
absolutely.
like wing of the business.
Yeah, absolutely. So we do a lot of work with different nonprofits where they'll bring us in. Sometimes they hire us. Sometimes like a presenting sponsor will be the ones to hire. Sometimes we just donate the time and the items that are being painted. We love giving back to the community. I've done stuff for Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A does a lot of feeding here in the Tampa Bay area.
Yeah.
So anytime that they're doing events, we like going out with their big cow,
Yeah.
like
Eat
doing,
more chicken.
just awesome stuff,
I love their marketing.
Yeah. So, we do a lot of fun, different things. I like to give back wherever we can. And especially here, because most of the relationships that were built at the beginning stages of Airbrush events growth were here in Tampa, St. Pete area. So
Yeah.
we're definitely connected to this area for sure.
That's really awesome you guys do that.
Yeah.
So we have some more stuff we're going to go through. Before we get into that, you're talking about airbrushing, learning from some of the people who came before you in the airbrush community. How'd you get your start?
So I went to Clearwater Beach and I overpaid for 2 t-shirts at the time. I was like 14 or 15. And then I thought to myself, man, I have some skills. Like I know how to do that. So I asked for an airbrush kit for my birthday, it was for birthday. So my parents got me an airbrush kit for my birthday, and I just started painting. Like I would go through a roll of paper towels and I would just paint on the paper towels.
Yeah.
And I started getting good enough that I could paint on a t-shirt, and then I painted my name on a t-shirt and wore it to school. And so many people were like, "Oh my gosh, where'd you get that?" And then I told them I made it. Give me $20, tell me your shirt size, how to spell your name, and I'll bring you a shirt tomorrow. So I started hustling back in like early high school days.
That's
and,
cool.
I just kept doing that until eventually I went into college and then went the corporate type job pattern, and then it just wasn't for me. So then I fell back into a career with art.
That's awesome. So you just started doing it. How many shirts were you turning out in high school? Were people just coming in? They're like, "Oh, that's the airbrush guy."
Yeah, pretty much. So it started with T-shirts, and then it turned into, "Oh, can you spray my cleats?" And then, "Can you spray my Xbox controller?"
That would be pretty cool.
Right.
Everything custom. People
Exactly.
love stuff that's custom made specifically for them.
Exactly. So I started with the shirts, and then eventually I started getting better in different mediums, like painting on plastic, painting on metal, painting on leather. So a lot of jumpsuits, like back in the day, a lot of people would wear the jumpsuits with the 2000s and the music notes and things like that. So we would paint on denim jackets and all of these things. Somebody would wear their shirt, they'd take it home, and then their parents were like, "Hey, I want this." So then I started doing stuff for people's parents. So it
that's
was,
when you
it was
knew it
good.
was like more than just a hobby.
Exactly.
You're like, this thing's catching on.
Exactly. And then I I listened to that voice in the back of my head, like, "No, don't do this, pursue a real career." And then eventually it turned into, man, I should get back into art, because I felt like I was missing something. And being able to go back to, I picked airbrush tattoos. It was funny because at Lowry Park Zoo, I saw a long line of airbrush or of hand face painting.
Yeah.
And my daughter at the time. Yeah.
Yeah. How old's your daughter?
I have a 14-year-old daughter, an 8-year-old, and a 5-year-old son. So 2 sons.
Nice. I have a 6 and 9-year-old, so I'm always standing in face.
Yeah, it's a 20-30 minute line.
Yeah.
Sometimes. And you're sitting in the sun, you're sweating, you see the kids that just got theirs done, they're sweating, and it
starts melting off. Their face looks.
Exactly. So that's why I picked the airbrush tattoos. Quick. Yeah. So the airbrush tattoos are way faster. Sometimes we can do them in 15 seconds for a small design, and then they stay on, so you don't have to worry about it sweating. And when I saw that, I saw the opportunity for that. I was like, man, I should probably do airbrush tattoos. And then eventually I just started doing more of those, and then it led to more and more events.
That's cool. That's cool. So I'm I'm just reading through some of these questions that were provided. I've just been winging it the whole time. That's typically how I do it. How are you guys innovating and evolving the airbrush community?
So we are partnering with different companies, brands that are using our services for like leverage. So what happens is everybody talks about ROI, return on investment.
Yeah.
So if a company is going to spend $1,000 on marketing, they want to make sure that they're getting at least more than $1,000 back, or else it's a waste.
Yeah, or else you're
Right?
losing
You
money.
know, exactly. You're
Yeah.
burning money. You're burning $100 bills. So what these companies are doing is they're using us and leveraging our skills and our fun portion of it to really stand out for their events. So what they do is they'll bring in an airbrush artist, and we will provide such a fun service that everybody's like, "Hey, what's going on?" Kind of like how we drew your attention. You know, like
Yeah,
you saw
I mean, you
such
drew
a
my
long line,
attention.
right?
Yeah, a huge line. I just went over because they looked so cool. I
Yeah.
thought I was going to have to buy it.
Yeah.
But then they were free, and I'm like, well, this is a no-brainer. I got to get one.
USF, right? USF
Yeah, and
is
it's
providing
custom.
it to all the fans.
Absolutely.
So that's, you know, for them, that's their return on investment is really, really happy guests. And then like when you see them on the Jumbotron, they're wearing these custom airbrush hats, right? Not everybody got one. If there's 5,000-10,000 people in attendance and we only painted 300 to 500, it feels exclusive. So if you made it onto the Jumbotron
Yeah.
with your custom hat, you know, you're smiling from ear to ear.
And it was ESPN2 that
Yeah.
night. It was opening game.
Yep.
Who were we playing? We were playing,
It wasn't Alabama.
no, it was a good team. I mean, they lost. I don't know. The season's been flying by.
Yeah.
But either way, we won. Was it
I think it
Boise
was like
State?
40 something. It was
Boise State.
And you guys won like 40 to
It was a
nothing almost,
fun
right?
game. It was a fun
I'm
game,
sure.
but you know, when I look at that hat, I remember the game too.
Yeah.
So sometimes the art, different things like that, it brings you back to an
Yep.
experience that you remember.
Absolutely. So that's kind of where we're innovating, where it's no longer just you placed an order at a counter or on a digital store and then waited 5 to 10 days to get it, you know, shipped to you. We're doing it on the spot. So it's something that you're not going to forget. The next time you see a USF game, you're going to be like, hey, I wonder if the hat guys are here.
You guys were there last time I was
Yep.
there too.
Yep.
Just I think like 2 weeks ago. So let's do our Florida Man segment. This is a segment where we just go and we give you 3 stories.
Okay.
And you tell us which one's the real news story and which 2 are not the real story.
Okay.
So I haven't read these yet. They were prepared for me. Let's go with option number A. A Florida man was bitten by an alligator after jumping into a lake to escape deputies. Officers say the man was fleeing arrest when the gator attacked. He survived the bite, and he still ended up in jail. I'm sure they took him to the hospital, and then he ended up in jail. That's the first story. Second story. A Florida man filed a lawsuit claiming his neighbor stole his shadow during a full moon. He argued the incident caused emotional distress and demanded compensation for spiritual damage. It sounds like Peter Pan's story or something. And the last one, a Florida man was arrested after driving his lawn. Sorry, a Florida man. We'll have to edit that out. I can't be an attorney who doesn't know how to read. Okay, we'll leave it in. It's fun. A Florida man was arrested after driving his riding lawnmower through a McDonald's drive-thru while intoxicated. Witnesses said he demanded fries before police stopped him in the parking lot. Which one's real? Which one's fake?
I'm going with option 3. That
think-
one's real.
That one's real?
Yeah, it has to be. I've seen a lot of lawnmower trafficking, you know, blocking traffic all over.
I've seen a lot of stuff too. That one's fake.
Oh,
All right, which one's real or fake out of the 2 left? The alligator getting bit when he was trying to run away from law enforcement officers, or the guy who said his neighbor stole his shadow?
oh, we have so many gators here. I'm going to have to go with that one then.
That one is real.
Okay.
You got it. So, yeah, crazy. Guys run away from law enforcement officers. Everyone knows you don't jump in a lake. He must have really been trying to get away.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Now, depends on what the lake is. And was it daytime or nighttime? Because if you can't
That's
see,
true.
yeah, if it's nighttime, maybe he had a good option. You know, if he can hold his breath and swim out far enough, he might have made it away. But glad they got him, and glad the gator got him too. You know, I'm sure it made their job
gets
easy.
an award from
Yeah,
the sheriff or
exactly.
something of the county.
Yeah.
Yeah, for catching a bad guy.
It's like Happy Gilmore, right? Taking Chubb's hand.
Oh yeah, Chubbs his arm. I watched the second one.
It was a great.
It was
movie.
good.
It was a great.
It was
movie.
surprisingly the sequel was pretty good.
Yeah.
A lot of times,
It
the
doesn't
second
live
movies
up
that
to
come
it.
out, they're no good.
Yeah.
I like seeing all the big golfing stars in there. That made it a little bit cooler. But the first one's still the best.
Oh yeah, the classic for sure.
Absolutely. So we're gonna go through lightning round real fast. So these quick answers. Favorite type of event to work at?
Corporate.
I always want to ask more questions, but I won't because it's lightning round. Most memorable design you've ever created?
Blink 182 shirt. That was one on
That
stage.
sounds pretty sick. Dream event you'd love to airbrush at?
Ooh. Just all of them. Honestly, like they're one event over the other. I love doing them all. So the next one's always fun.
What about if you could just create one? Just one you got to just make it up and you're like, I get to go do that event. What would it be?
Probably the Isle of Man TT. Motorcycle riding.
Okay.
In a small little island, they take sport bikes and drive like unreasonably fast speeds through a closed mountain course. I feel
Wow.
like that would be a fun one to go airbrush at.
That sounds pretty
Maybe
cool.
do like custom helmets for it.
Custom helmets. I hear those are pretty big.
Yeah.
So, all right, and then good way to unwind after a big event.
So I used to have a perfect answer for that, and it was always go drink an ice cold beer. I stopped drinking, so now I guess it would just be like go get a nice plate of food.
There we go. Who can say no to some good food?
Yeah.
And if you weren't doing airbrushing, what would you be doing?
I'd likely still be in the medical field doing X-ray. I don't think I would have gone too far from that. It was comfortable, predictable, and just reliable.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know we said we'd talk a little bit about motorcycles.
Yeah.
What type of bike do you ride? Where are your favorite places to ride? Tell us a little bit about that.
I have a Triumph Daytona. It's a sport bike.
Yeah.
It's currently, as I'm getting older, my back starts to hurt more, my wrist hurt more because it's so like aggressive. That's gonna end up becoming like a track bike and just using it at the Miami Speedway track or the one up in Jennings. Right now, I just enjoy riding through like the backcountry roads, one lane roads, twists and turns, going towards like love going out towards like Homosassa,
Yeah.
Crystal River area. They have this road called Ozello Trail, and it's full of twists and turns, several miles of just overgrown trees, and it's awesome. I love it.
Sounds nice.
Peaceful.
Yeah. Do you have your own custom helmet that you airbrush for
I
yourself?
didn't. No, I really don't paint anything for myself.
You don't?
Yeah, no. If somebody doesn't ask for it, I usually don't paint it.
I thought your whole house would just be airbrushed everywhere. Kids have custom
No.
little bicycles, everything.
No. So we did have like a small little game room or kind of game room / home gym area.
Yeah.
And I let them take spray cans and paint their hands and throw paint all over the wall. And they laid down the background, and then I airbrush and spray painted some cooler stuff on it, like designs.
Yeah.
And that's about as much artwork as we have in our house.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like a 10-foot by 20-foot wall, and that's it.
But you must have been the fun dad that day. You
Yeah,
gave
absolutely.
your kids
Yeah,
spray
they were
paint.
covered in paint.
They got
yeah.
to just
Yeah.
mess up
paint
mess up the
everywhere
room.
for sure.
That's awesome. Okay. So you mentioned your social media, everything. Where can people connect with airbrush events online if they want to get in contact with you guys?
Airbrushevents.com is a good place to start, and then from there you can tag along towards Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or YouTube. Airbrush events for all of them.
All right.
It's
You
2
guys got
words.
a good name there.
Yeah.
It's,
can't beat
it's
it.
hard to forget. It's just airbrush events.
Yeah.
What do you guys do? We airbrush.
Exactly.
At
Where?
events.
Events, exactly.
At events, believe it or not. And then final piece of advice, if someone wants to pursue a career, something they love, they care about, give some aspiring artist some advice.
Yeah, I mean, we live in America, and this is like the land of opportunity. My family came from Cuba, and that was the reason that we were drawn here, right? So parents saw an opportunity to be able to give us, me and my brother and my sister, a better life. It's America. You know, people make a living doing wild things here. You can essentially follow your passion and learn how to monetize it along the way.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's no truer statement than that. and I appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us,
Absolutely.
Yami,
Thanks for
on
having
one Hale of a podcast.
Thanks for
Yeah.
having me.
Yeah, and so that concludes one Hale of a podcast. Like us, subscribe, all that sort of good stuff. And remember, tell the insurance companies, you're going to Hale.
You know